Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. Back with another video a day till this channel hits 100K. Yesterday was a huge day. We just crossed 80,000 subscribers. I just want to thank everybody who's been along for this ride in the last 75 or so videos that I've filmed for this whole push to 100K. It has been absolutely awesome. Again, thank you very much for your support. Today, I wanted to come out here and just make a video going over 10 of my favorite accessories on my 2024 GMC Sierra. This is the 3.0 Duramax, for those of you who are unaware. Now, this truck build is pretty much all but done. I mean, I've gotten pretty much everything on here that I wanted to, and I'm super thrilled with the way that it has turned out. Of course, I'm going to link all of this stuff in the description down below. A lot of it actually came from Realtruck. Realtruck has supported this channel for many years now, and I just want to thank Realtruck for that support. And some of it was stuff I just bought myself. So I was very particular with how I built this truck out. So first, I'm going to start with the Method 305 double black 17-inch wheels that I've got on this thing. These did come from Realtruck, and I love the way that these look on this whole rig. The whole white and black kind of look is kind of my vibe. And the way that these 305 double blacks set off from even themselves is something I love. They've got this black gloss, and it is a, fake beadlock sort of look, but I dig it on the matte black on the inside. And this matte black, the way that it sets off from the gloss black, almost makes it look like a darker gray almost. But it is black, but it has this like weird black / gray in between look. And again, I think it just fits the truck really, really well. Now, these are a 0 offset wheel. I've had a bunch of people ask in the comments down below. And it has the perfect amount of poke. Now, there was quite a bit of trimming to do on the front end of this truck. It's also up on a lift, which we'll get to that in a minute, to set up on these 35-inch tires, but I have it to the point now where it is no longer rubbing, but it did require a bunch of work. I'll probably do a separate video because that was a very long process. It took me weeks to get that dialed in, to get that rub to go away. Now, the tires, I'm not really including these in my top 10 favorites. It's the Open Country AT3. And this is a 35-inch by 11.5-inch wide 17-inch tire. Now next, naturally, would be the lift. This is a 3-inch Superlift with the King coilovers with the reservoirs. This suspension setup is perfect. I love, out of any shocks I've ever run on any vehicle, by far, the best, hands down. Now, these things, not only are they awesome off-road, but even on-road characteristics have changed so much more for the better. When I go through parking lots, I love not having to slow down for speed bumps. When I'm going down the highway, this thing cruises like a Cadillac. Love it. Again, this is the King 2.5-inch bodied shock with the reservoirs, and it does have the dialed-in adjusters, so you can make some tweaks, but I have it set to the softest suspension because that's kind of the way that I like to ride all of the time. Now again, this truck does come from the factory because it is the AT4 with a 2-inch lift. So by putting this 3-inch lift on there, I actually only gained about 1 inch, and I'm able to dial in the front suspension a little more because it does have the adjustable collars for the front shocks as well. But that's about as far as I wanted to go with the lift on this truck. My last F-150, I had a 6-inch lift on, and this one I wanted to go a little more modest. My goal was to be able to throw some big 35s on here, have a decent lift, but not just demolish the gas mileage if I could save it. And I'm super happy that I went that way. It was also pretty easy to install. So let's get into more of like the amenities. These, an absolute must-have on any modern pickup truck, are the AMP Powersteps. Again, these came from Realtruck. They have a whole bunch of different types of Powersteps, but having them set up so that they come up and down when the doors open is just an amazing setup. Now, do you need these? A lot of guys, tough truck guys, will be like, oh, you don't need side steps, but truth is, I think you kind of do. It's so much nicer to get up into the truck with a side step with, grabbing the grab handle. It saves the bolsters on your seats. I think the Powersteps are something that I'll never not have on a truck ever again. And truth be told, I actually like doing them aftermarket because the OEM steps, what I've found is they actually don't drop down far enough. So I've always found that the OEM steps kind of present themselves a little bit higher and don't really have that much function. That's been my experience. Now, this particular version also has lights in the side, which I like at nighttime because it just helps throw a little bit of ambient light to the outside of the step. My truck does not have any factory OEM lighting off to the side of the truck, so that makes a huge difference. Now I'm gonna have to go handheld for this one, but next is the Talons Garage skid plates. What you'll see is we've got the front plate and then it goes all the way back. And the whole purpose of these skid plates is not just underbody protection, but also catalytic converter theft prevention. I love the fit and finish of these things, are absolutely awesome. Now the nice thing about the skid plate protection underneath the truck is that pretty much for the most part, all of the OEM skid plates that come from the factory are an absolute joke. They're plastic, they crack, they are just, they're garbage. So it's really nice to have way better underbody protection for when you're off-roading. But like I said, they also double as catalytic converter theft prevention, which is a big thing. And I know a lot of people are like, well, if you have catalytic converter theft, you just file an insurance claim, get it fixed to move on with life. But with part shortages, things like that, just because you get it stolen and have insurance doesn't mean you'll be able to actually get new catalytic converters. So I think having those skid plates is an absolute necessity in the world we live in today, unfortunately, but it is. Now, up next, this is my pride and joy. I just did a video on this, so I'm not going to cover this extensively. I will link that video up over here. You can check it out, which is the switch panel for all of my electronics here in the truck. This setup is absolutely fire. This is the Switch Pros SP9100. Again, I just did a whole video on this switch panel, but definitely in my top 10 favorites on this truck because I love having this controllability of all of my accessories, interior, exterior, all in one spot without just having a bunch of toggle switches all over the place. Really clean, love the switch panel. Now we'll get into functionality. I mean, the whole purpose of buying a pickup truck is to use it, to put it to work. And that's where I am very intentional with the way that I set up the rear of my truck. A huge, huge favorite of mine in any truck build that I've had recently, chairs in the way, are the swing cases. The swing cases are awesome because not only do they give you a ton of storage space, this is where I keep things like my fuel, diesel additives, tools, just Lord knows, garbage bags, wheel chocks, breaker bars, rope, some duct tape, and then over on the other side, hitches, all of the towing stuff. I like to keep it like tools on the driver's side, towing stuff on the passenger side, and it just makes it really clean. But of course, they're also removable. They're locked in right now, and I blew my back out yesterday or 2 days ago doing the jack video that I just did. So I'm not gonna lift these out now, but they are removable really easily and gives you full access to your bed without having to have a toolbox up at the bulkhead that just takes up all that room and impossible to remove. Or the other side of it is totes, which just slide around the bed of the truck all the time. And while we're back here talking about things sliding around the bed of the truck, bed rugs. I used to hate bed rugs. I would have told you 5-10 years ago that bed rugs were the dumbest, absolute dumbest thing in the world. Why would you want a rug in the bed of your truck? That's what I thought until I owned one. Now, going back, I had a 2001 Silverado. And in that truck, I actually had a rubber mat in the back of the truck. And I loved how that thing, you could put blocks in the back and have it, they wouldn't slide around, they stayed stationary. So when I got nicer, newer trucks, I actually took a look at the bed rug and was like, you know, maybe I need to give that another shot. I will never own a truck without a bed rug ever again. They are so easy to keep clean. Watch as many reviews as you want. Everybody will agree. You can just blow it out with a leaf blower or a broom or hose it out. So easy to keep clean, and it looks super sharp, but it's also like, it makes it comfortable to like crawl around the bed of the truck. I can't tell you like the number of times crawling around just having your knees get all beat up in the back of the truck. This is just absolute necessity. Bed rug, love it. Staying in the bed of the truck, the tonneau cover is not going to stay in this favorites list. I just did a bunch of videos on the Paragon tonneau cover. I like it, but while we're back here with my trucks, and I just started doing this with my 2021 F-150, and it started by carrying a jack. This is a Grove Fabworks jack mount for the original 3-ton Badland jack. This is actually mounted to the bed of the truck with some nut certs. I'm gonna do a whole video on how to do this coming up, because I'm going to switch this out for the right jack mount because I just changed jacks, the whole thing. But I also nut-sert in a fire extinguisher back here. So this is permanently mounted to the side of the truck here. I love having a fire extinguisher on the truck at all times. Really awesome because it's out of the way. That's space that literally you use for nothing else, and it's nice to have that be usable space. And I think with this new 1.5 ton Badlands jack, I might try to mount that on the side so I regain all of that access. But I love hard, rigid mounting stuff to the bed of the truck, but I can also remove it if I just undo those nuts. If I wanted full access, I could do that again. I'll do a video on that coming up soon. So to wrap it up, there's a couple things that I use all the time that people probably won't even consider a truck accessory, but I absolutely do. A MyMedic medical kit that I keep on the truck all the time. I have used that all of the time. People just know now, like if we're out for soccer with my daughter or anything and somebody needs a Band-Aid or whatever, I've got it available in the truck. Absolutely love the MyMedic medic kits. I will link those in the description down below as well. And then I've got some other stuff here, like these Readywares bags, which this is not part of my top 10 list, but now that I'm looking at it, I do love these bags, and I have like tow ropes, things like that. It's nice to be able to grab everything in one shot, pick the bag up, and carry it to the back of the truck or front of the truck. That is something that I think, again, just having stuff like this is really, really great in the truck at all times. Now, last but certainly not least, but the hardest to demonstrate, auto start stop eliminator. The truck turns on, auto start stop turns off automatically. Now that's something I did super early with this truck. Some vehicles do auto start stop well, others don't. This one did it pretty good actually, but with a diesel, it's so weird to have the engine turn on and off as you're driving. So I couldn't stand it and really quickly went to the auto start stop eliminator. Actually pretty easy to install. I think most people could do it pretty quickly. So that's a run through of the 10 things that currently with this truck I absolutely love. It's basically to the point now where, like, I want to say I'm quote done. As a YouTuber, you're never done, so I will review more things, more tonneau covers, more accessories, but this is kind of the baseline of where I wanted to get my truck, and I love where it is at. So with that being said, thank you guys very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I will see you guys next time.